Hello, everyone. My name is John Trayser. I'm known around the country as the Grateful Dad. Um, I, I'm absolutely enveloped by the subject of ACEs, and if you aren't aware of it, it's kind of taken the country by storm. It's about adverse childhood experience, ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. Started in the late 90s. It's about the traumatic effects of your childhood are not just an emotional weight to carry around with you for the rest of your life, but there's significant data now that shows that it has dramatic effect on your physical well-being as well. Um, I've written a book about it called "The Impact." Uh, the ACEs Revolution, the impact of adverse childhood experiences. Um, it's coming up on Google, and I'm selling lots of them on Amazon. Matter of fact, Oprah Winfrey did a show about it a few weeks ago on 60 Minutes and said it was the most important piece she'd ever done. And she actually used the word revolution, and that's probably going to help my book sales, but that's not what it's about. I'm getting some amazing phone calls. The reason I'm making this video is I'm getting calls from school counselors that want to come over and meet me, teachers. I have an 11 o'clock today with a pastor from Eugene, Oregon, and they continue to say the same thing. When I picked up your book, I couldn't put it down. I'm not a world class writer, but it's in a very conversational tone, and I actually have a personal guarantee with this book. It has a condition. If you have the courage to read this book out loud with someone you want to be closer to, whether it's a friend or hopefully your family, people are reading it together as a family because I don't have all the answers. I had the two kindest parents that were ever put on this planet, and everything I wrote is an honor to Vern and Grace Trayser. They were just the two kindest parents. And if you take the ACE test, which is 10 questions about your past, did you have these traumatic events in your life? I'm a 0, which is rare these days. But what I got to tell you is that I'm getting phone calls. I got a phone call from as far away as American Samoa, a gentleman who said I gave a book to his son here in Nashville, and he needed 20 more books because his friend said he was turning into someone different. Um, the reason I say read it out loud with someone is that when you have a cognitive moment, when you're reading a book and you say, I should say something about that someday. Life, work, bills, children all get in the way. And yet, if you read it out loud together, just 5 pages a night around the dinner table and then talk about it, that's all my goal is to get people talking. And actually, most of my effort these days is trying to figure out how to prevent ACEs. I'm working with shortly with the Prevent Child Abuse Tennessee people that I met at a meeting the other night, and she was all excited that there was somebody else thinking the same thoughts because here's what I've learned: hurt people hurt people. That's right. That simple statement. People are having traumatic childhoods and they're passing it on. What I know is that happy people help people, not hurt people. So I'm hoping we can figure out how to get parenting taught at the hospital for anyone that shows up for pre or postnatal, because if you look around and ask anybody at schools, it's getting worse every year, and we need to put the darn cell phones down. If we could just do that for a few minutes every night at the dinner table, it's the quality time moment that you get with your children that becomes priceless. It was really important at our house, and sometimes we would say something as simple as, "What are you grateful for today?" And listen, and the things you can learn from your children if you ask that simple question, or how can I help you? And they'll tell you the truth. Children are beautiful, and nobody has a child with the intent of hurting them. I believe that from the bottom of my soul. And it's strange that in the pastoral world, a gentleman called yesterday and said he was quoting my book in his sermon, and he needed to speak more with me about that. I don't think he wanted to plagiarize my book in his sermon. And I'm not that religious a person, but we lived in such a spiritual way at our house that it left an indelible impression, I think, on all the Trayser boys. And our whole tribe, when it gets together, has that same kind of feel. So I've been told I'm a great sales guy. Here's what I want to sell you. There is hope for kindness and love and generosity in the teaching of right and wrong in your lifetime. If you just once every 6 months hold your child's face in your hands and say, do you know that there's absolutely nothing I wouldn't do for you? My mom used to do that for me, and I could have been the wild child out of the four Trayser boys, but their kindness and generosity of love was so remarkable that I respected all of their wishes. Smoking, drinking, I didn't do anything related to that because they asked me not to. And do you know what they did for punishment at our house? Disappointment. Disappointment. No hitting, no screaming. They loved us so that when they used disappointment, it put us in line because they earned the respect of their children. So if you're working too hard, and I know some people have to work hard to make a living, but if you're working hard to earn a big amount of money so you can get a new place in the mountains or on a lake somewhere or whatever, and you're not paying attention to your children, and all of a sudden you decide you want to start parenting in high school, which seems to happen at times, it's cumulative. It's simply cumulative. You have to give your heart away from the day they are born. They can feel it. They can hear it in your voice. All of those things were magical at our house. I know all four Trayser boys thought they were the favorite. Frankly, I'm sure it was me. But my mom, with a poker face, said, you know, your brother Dave said that just a couple weeks ago to me. I know that never happened, but she wasn't going to give that one up. So here's what I want to tell you. Take a chance. Buy my book. Don't ever put it on a shelf. Pass it on to someone. When you finish it, you will find someone in your heart that needs to have that book. And if you can, read it aloud with someone. Again, I don't have all the answers, but if I just get you talking about the things that matter, don't we all win? Because happy people help people. Hurt people hurt people. Let's all pull together just a little bit more and care for those precious children and those priceless, priceless hours that we have until they leave the nest. And I was crushed when they left for college because they were my best friends, and they still are. So may the angels watch over all of you. Learn more about ACES if you go to johntrayser.com and click on ACES and speaking, because I love speaking, maybe you can tell that. It'll take you to another page, and up in the upper left corner, learn more about ACES. Click on that, and it will take you to a 9-page, fairly technical study from 2012 here in Nashville, actually for Tennessee, that outlines the physical maladies that come from having ACEs. Don't carry the weight of your trauma around for the rest of your life. It's like carrying a 50-pound weight around every single day. Find some counseling, find someone who cares, tell your story, and shed yourself of the trauma and give your heart away to others as often as you can. It's the only legacy that matters. May the angels watch over all of you. I love you.